Perhaps the most bizarre social networking killer never directly took any lives. In a twisted scheme taken to the extreme, then 27-year-old New Zealander Natalia Burgess spent months creating fake Facebook and Bebo profiles of attractive teenage girls. She gave them alluring names like George Williams, Becca Maria Julian, and Abby Jane Zoe William, and her ultimate goal was to seduce younger people into relationships. As if that wasn't I Belong on To Catch a Predator enough, Burgess took her twisted scheme even further by killing off the fake girls in tragic accidents or self-death. She used other made-up personas to break the devastating news on Facebook. Burgess would trick the teens into believing they had found someone special, only to later deliver the heartbreaking news of the girls' passing. The girls' online boyfriends were left traumatized, devastated by the emotional manipulation and the fabricated deaths of those they thought were real. This cruel manipulation caused significant emotional and psychological damage to her young victims. Over 40 teen boys were identified as victims of her digital mind games, with one tragically ending his own life. Burgess's machinations were uncovered in 2011 when a 22-year-old woman discovered her own photographs in an online memorial video for one of these fake internet personas, a girl named Abby. The discovery led to the unraveling of Burgess's deceptive activities. As a result, Burgess was sentenced to 2 years and 2 months in prison for her cruel and manipulative actions. Not enough for the death of the boy, if you ask me. In 2014, Scott Humphrey, 27, from Nottinghamshire, was sentenced to jail after repeatedly punching his friend, Richard Rivetto, 29, in a cab on their way back from a guy's night out. Humphrey was enraged because Rivetto had allegedly poked Humphrey's girlfriend on Facebook. Rivetto claimed that he was unaware the woman was Humphrey's girlfriend and that he meant no offense by the virtual flirting. Despite Rivetto's explanation, the altercation escalated, leading to Humphrey's arrest and subsequent imprisonment. The punches reportedly caused Rivetto to become lightheaded, and he passed out when Humphrey pushed him to the ground, resulting in a fatal head injury. Humphrey was subsequently convicted of manslaughter and received a sentence of 4 years and 4 months in prison. This tragic incident highlighted the potentially deadly consequences of seemingly minor online interactions escalating into real-life violence. In August of 2010, 3 Colombian teenagers were found shot to death without any obvious reason, marking the beginning of a terrifying digital phenomenon. 5 days later, the names of these teens, along with 66 others, appeared on a mysterious Facebook death list. This alarming development sent shockwaves through the community of Puerto Asis, located in the Putumayo region. The chilling nature of these events sparked widespread fear and confusion as residents grappled with the implications of these online threats and their real-world consequences. When another teenager named on the list was slain 3 days later, the terror escalated. Additional lists were posted online and leaflets were placed on cars, warning the families of the listed children to leave town within 3 days or face the death of their children. This campaign of fear and intimidation plunged the community into a state of panic as parents frantically tried to protect their children from an unknown and seemingly omnipresent threat. The digital death lists and the accompanying physical warnings underscored the brutal and far-reaching impact of this reign of terror. At the time, a local named Juan David Sepulveda tweeted, "Need to protect our youth," promoting a public outcry. But the police, aside from suspecting gang activity, were at a loss. To this day, nobody knows or is willing to speak up about the responsible party or parties. The slaying stopped after most of the kids on the list, who were predominantly minors, fled town. Even adults can succumb to the ugliness of cyber jealousy. In 2008, 41-year-old Edward Richardson's 26-year-old wife, Sarah, decided to change her Facebook relationship status from married to single. Although they were already separated, Richardson was strongly opposed to the status change. After their separation, Sarah moved back in with her parents. Later, Richardson snuck into the Staffordshire house and confronted Sarah with a knife while she slept. Tragically, he killed her during the confrontation. Afterward, Richardson attempted to take his own life, but was apprehended by authorities. He was subsequently sentenced to 17 years in prison for his actions. Richard Alden Samuel McCroskey, a 20-year-old self-styled horrorcore rapper, lived in Castro Valley, California with his sister. Understanding that Facebook wasn't the best platform for promoting bands, McCroskey turned to MySpace to connect with horrorcore fans searching for the next big thing. Through MySpace, he made a connection with 16-year-old Emma Niederbrock and her friend, 18-year-old Melanie Wells. Under the name Psycho Sam, McCroskey posted some of his musical stylings on the social platform. Quote, "You're not the first, just to let you know. I've killed many people and I kill them real slow. It's the best feeling watching their last breath, stabbing and stabbing, till there's nothing left." End quote. In 2009, Richard Alden Samuel McCroskey III traveled to Emma Niederbrock's home in the small town of Farmville, Virginia. There, he brutally attacked and killed Emma, her friend Melanie Wells, and Emma's parents, Pastor Mark Niederbrock, 50, and Dr. Deborah Kelly, 53. Their bodies were found at the Niederbrock home, having been bludgeoned with a hammer and a maul while they slept. A friend and fellow horrorcore rapper remarked, quote, "You would never ever imagine that kid even being a suspect," end quote. McCroskey was subsequently sentenced to life in prison for the heinous murders. In 2008, a teenager from Mesa, Arizona committed patricide. When a typical 15-year-old is forbidden from using their favorite social networking site, they or might choose to go outside, play with friends, or interact with the real world. However, when 15-year-old Houston Schlicker's father threatened to ban him from using MySpace, Houston responded by ending his father's life with a 12-gauge shotgun. Reportedly, Schlicker had been posting threats to take his own life on MySpace for weeks. On the day in question, Schlicker stayed home from school with a plan to end both his father's life and his own. He decided that if his father was going to take away his internet access, he would take both of their lives. However, after the tragic incident, Schlicker called a friend who managed to convince him to turn himself in. Schlicker was subsequently convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. In 2010, a Facebook feud between Tori Lynn Emery, 23, and Danielle Booth, 20, escalated into a deadly high-speed car chase. The two women had been arguing on Facebook for months over a man who was in prison at the time. When Emery spotted Booth driving with a friend, she pursued them across town, with her 3-year-old child in the back seat. Emery repeatedly rammed the car driven by 21-year-old Alicia Abernathy until it ran a red light and was struck by a dump truck. Abernathy was killed instantly, and Booth was left in critical condition. Tracy Emery, Tori's mother, tearfully stated, quote, "She made a mistake, but her intentions weren't to kill nobody. Her intentions were to fight," end quote. Despite the unintended outcome, Tori Emery received a sentence of 18 to 60 years for numerous charges, including child endangerment. Sarah Elston, 22, was reportedly excited to see her ex-boyfriend again. For the first time in months, 28-year-old Daniel Garcia contacted her on Facebook to set up a meeting. While Elston, an artist in Brisbane, was looking forward to the reconciliation, her former boyfriend's intentions were sinister. Unbeknownst to Elston, Garcia had pre-existing mental health conditions and had recently confessed his desire to commit homicide to a counselor. In June 2008, police were called to a disturbance at Sarah Elston's flat and discovered her mutilated body. Neighbors reported hearing loud noises coming from the unit, but did not report it sooner, as such commotion was common in their neighborhood. Daniel Garcia was arrested but found mentally unfit to stand trial. It was revealed that Garcia suffers from paranoid schizophrenia and, as a result, will be permanently institutionalized for his crimes. Sarah Ludeman, 18, and Rachel Wade, 19, engaged in a particularly vicious internet battle. In the months leading up to her murder in April 2009, Ludeman frequently posted photos of herself with her new boyfriend, Josh, despite repeated requests from his ex-girlfriend, Wade, to stop. The two girls harassed each other for months, exchanging threats and insults, including leaving threatening voicemails for one another. One such voicemail transcript was played during Wade's 2010 trial. Quote, "Please tell me, Sarah, why you would be a dumb donkey brat and put a brand new picture of you and Josh at the beach on your MySpace. Seriously, I told you to watch your effing back and not to effing chill with him. I'm guaranteeing you that I'm going to effing murder you. I'm letting you know that now," end quote. Following up on her threat, Wade went over to Ludemann's house to continue taunting her. During the ensuing altercation, Wade stabbed Ludemann in the chest with a kitchen knife and watched her bleed out. After being sentenced to 27 years in prison, Wade reflected on the consequences of her online behavior, stating, quote, "It's almost like you can threaten something or say whatever you want and possibly scare them, and you don't have to face them at that moment," end quote. This tragic incident underscores the deadly potential of cyberbullying and online harassment. Childhood friends J. Meg Blake and Kwame Dancy had been exchanging heated 140-character insults on Twitter for days over a woman both men liked in December 2009, just hours before a fatal confrontation in the luxury NYC high-rise where the 22-year-olds lived on the same floor. Dancy taunted Blake online. The escalating tension culminated in a tragic face-to-face encounter, highlighting the dangerous potential of social media-fueled conflicts. Dancy tweeted, quote, "The N-word is looking for you don't think I won't give up your address for a price, better chill ASAP," end quote. In response to this threat, Blake used a shotgun to kill his former best friend. Immediately after the murder, Blake tweeted, "RIP Kwame." This shocking turn of events demonstrates the lethal consequences that can arise from online conflicts escalating into real-world violence. Dancy's mother, Madeline Smith, expressed her distress. Quote, "That's not a reason to shoot somebody. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on with that Twitter thing," end quote. Blake pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 21 years in prison. This tragic incident underscores the devastating impact that online disputes can have, leading to irreversible real-world consequences. It was New Year's Eve in 2009, and most teens were busy spending time with their loved ones ringing in the new year. However, in Burien, WA, seasoned 16-year-old criminal Matthew Dubois was embroiled in an argument with his 15-year-old girlfriend, Makara Tinky Sanders, over a comment another boy had posted on her MySpace page. Dubois had a juvenile record already marred with theft, burglary, assault, and witness intimidation. He was so utterly enraged by the MySpace comment that by midnight he took a .45 caliber handgun and shot his girlfriend, Makara Tinky Sanders, in the face. It was then that Dubois concocted a plan to shoot himself in the shoulder to blame Tinky's death on an imaginary gang member. However, his plan backfired and the truth quickly unraveled. Dubois was charged as an adult and subsequently sentenced to 14 years in prison. When a London teen gang of 20 decided to kill their rival, 15-year-old Sofiane Bellamouadine, they planned the attack online. Taking the public sharing theme to extreme levels, the group decided to target Sofiane in a highly public setting. In 2010, armed with an eclectic assortment of weapons, including samurai swords, machetes, Swiss Army knives, and screwdrivers, the teens chased Sofiane through the busy Victoria Tube station. The brutal attack, which lasted just 12 seconds, took place in front of hundreds of horrified onlookers. Since the assault took place in a public space, a subway station, it was captured on CCTV, making the identification of the attackers straightforward and the criminal trials clear-cut. In the end, 3 individuals were convicted of murder, 5 were convicted of manslaughter, and 9 were convicted on lesser charges. The footage provided indisputable evidence, leading to swift and decisive legal outcomes for those involved in the brutal attack on Sofiane Bellamouadine. In 2014, 32-year-old Courtney Ann Sanford from North Carolina tragically crashed her car into a highway median moments after updating her Facebook status. Reportedly, Sanford had posted, "The happy song makes me happy." According to KTLA-5, one of the drivers involved in the collision saw Sanford's car cross the median, but was unable to maneuver out of the way. This tragic incident highlighted the dangers of distracted driving, emphasizing how a momentary lapse in attention can lead to fatal consequences. Authorities believed that Sanford had been updating her status and taking pictures while operating her vehicle. This distraction is thought to have caused her to lose control of the car, leading to the fatal crash. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of using mobile devices while driving and the critical importance of staying focused on the road. Amidst a digital sea of up-to-the-minute status updates, 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante of Missouri stood out from the crowd. Her Facebook profile interests even included killing people, and she wasn't lying. In 2009, Bustamante dug a shallow grave in advance, then lured her 9-year-old neighbor Elizabeth Olten into the woods. She stabbed Elizabeth multiple times before slitting her throat and hiding the little girl's body in the pre-dug grave. This horrifying act shocked the community and highlighted the dark side of social media profiles and the potential for hidden, violent intentions. Regarding the crime, Bustamante later told police that she wanted to know what it felt like to take a life. In her journal following the murder, Bustamante chillingly wrote that it was amazing. The prosecutor on the case, Mark Richardson, argued for life in prison plus 71 years, representing the years that Elizabeth Olten lost. This case highlighted the depth of Bustamante's disturbing motivations and the severe impact of her actions on the community and Elizabeth's family. Bustamante pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and armed criminal action. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole for the first charge and an additional 30 years for the second charge. This sentencing aimed to ensure that she faced significant consequences for her horrific actions while also providing a structured path for potential rehabilitation. In 2014, 23-year-old Terry Marie Palmer stabbed her boyfriend Damon Searson after posting a Facebook status expressing her frustration. "My boyfriend is peeing me off sitting on Facebook, completely blanking me when I'm talking to him." In retaliation for his inattentive attitude while he checked messages on his phone, Palmer attacked him with a bread knife, tragically ending his life. This incident underscores the extreme and violent outcomes that can arise from seemingly ordinary relationship disputes exacerbated by social media and digital distractions. After the incident, Terry Marie Palmer phoned emergency services and attempted to lie by stating that her boyfriend had caused his own injury while they were messing around in their Lancashire caravan. However, her story did not hold up under investigation. The hairdresser was found guilty of murder and was given a life sentence in prison. She may be eligible for parole after serving a minimum of 12 years. In 2016, just a few weeks away from graduation, the life of an 18-year-old Indiana teen was tragically cut short as a result of a feud on Twitter. The tension began when Gerald Parker tweeted at 19-year-old Devin Leggett, criticizing his rapping skills by saying that he couldn't rap. The seemingly minor online insult escalated into a deadly confrontation. Not long after the online exchange, Devin Leggett shot Gerald Parker multiple times, according to several witnesses. Leggett was subsequently charged with murder and carrying a handgun without a license. This incident underscores the tragic consequences that can arise from seemingly trivial disputes on social media. In 2016, Arun Rao, a 24-year-old man from Bengaluru, India, posted "Hi Shishya" while chatting with his friend Sandeep on Facebook. While Shishya means disciple, in their particular dialect, it can also mean camp follower, which led to a misunderstanding. This seemingly innocent comment sparked an argument between the two, which quickly escalated and involved a whole group of men, increasing the tension significantly. A few weeks after making the comment, Sandeep and his friends approached Arun Rao at his home and asked him to step outside to talk. When he didn't return immediately, Rao's mother went out to look for him and discovered Sandeep and his friends brutally beating her son. In a horrifying escalation, Rao was kidnapped in front of his mother, placed in a van, and repeatedly stabbed in the abdomen. This tragic incident highlights how a simple misunderstanding on social media can spiral into deadly violence. Rao's brother and his friends frantically searched for him and eventually found him bleeding out at Bagalur Cross. Despite their efforts to save him, Rao succumbed to his injuries while undergoing treatment at a local Baptist hospital. This tragic chain of events underscores the devastating consequences of escalating online disputes. In 2016, 17-year-old Cassandra Sechi Porter, a senior at Westside High School in Dayton, Idaho, tragically took her own life after enduring relentless online harassment. Another student had set up a Facebook page under a false name, encouraging her to harm herself. 2 weeks prior to her death, Porter had already attempted to take her life due to the ongoing cyberbullying. This heartbreaking incident highlights the severe impact of online harassment and the urgent need for effective measures. to combat cyberbullying. Thinking his daughter had recovered and that the bullying had ceased, Craig Porter went out of town on business. Tragically, when he returned, he discovered that Ceci had taken her own life. Reflecting on the horrific events, her father lamented. They just said terrible, graphic things about her and told her to kill herself. This poignant statement underscores the devastating impact of cyberbullying and the profound grief it can cause for the families of victims. And guys, that is where we are going to leave it for today's episode. Please remember to like the video and subscribe. Lots of more interesting content is on the way. I hope to see you soon. Goodbye for now.